So finally, with all of the things we've covered, and I'm sure we could keep talking for hours about this, what do you think are the top 3 or 4 most important things that we need to do to create selling better systems and cultures in our businesses? If you had to sort of pick the top 3 or 4 things from not just HR, but any aspect from your, experience.
Mm. Well, the tough thing is that I have to take off the traditional way of working when I think to answer that question.
Yeah, go right ahead.
So my logic and my training of the past would probably guide me down a particular path with this. But I'm just going to sort of shoot from the hip on it. Trust, I think, is the fundamental currency in business today, whether it's consumer business, internal, external. If that does not exist, performance will not follow. Revenue will not be achieved and the business will go backwards. That's just the way it's going to be, because I cannot see it working any differently in the future. And people haven't really owned that conversation previously because they haven't needed to. But when we've got high stakes, challenging environments to navigate, and we all know this in our personal lives, who is your go-to crowd? It's the people who are closest to you, that trust you, who get you. If we don't build those types of cultures within organisations, those organisations will not exist. And it sounds really dramatic, but I reckon the horizon for that is within 5 to 10.
Yep. I'm with you absolutely on that.
Even sooner than that, which is a bit scary, really, because I do see my work life going beyond the 5 or 10 year mark, and it might mean that the whole economy and the way organisations exist today is going to be radically different. The other piece is that curiosity element that we spoke about earlier, and it's a tricky one. I don't know exactly how we're all going to crack that nut, but it has to come from within. You can't go to a training course and learn how to be curious. It's something that you innately do because it's a personal choice that you make. And you might not naturally gravitate to that, but I'm sure that we will be developing learning strategies in which to wake people's curiosity again. I think we're all born with curiosity, but somehow or other it got left behind because we all got on board and started to work the assembly line, and it wasn't required. And now we have to, again, come back to this unlearning piece. We have to relearn and look at sort of the child within and go back to when we were kids and think how much fun it was exploring the backyard or working out whether these 2 paint colours make a pretty picture or whatever it might be. And we can draw so much learning from our personal lives in that capacity, but that is probably the toughest one, because I think relationships and trust and things like that, if you work hard enough at them, you can achieve that. The curiosity piece, I think that's much more complex than any of us really care to believe. We know it's there, but I'm not even sure what the best strategies or solutions are. So I'm busy experimenting, Sue.
That's all right. I'm right along with you on that one, but there are ways and means. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's one of the critical pieces. Is there anything else?
I'd probably just sum it up with having a growth mindset. And, this is something from my own personal experience as well as, home and at work. Anyone who is absolutely doggedly wedded to a particular way of working or a particular system or a particular process and has no sense of thinking anything different from that will absolutely be left behind. So those people are pretty much stuck, and I think that fear is sometimes behind that, not always. But having a growth mindset and encouraging a growth mindset and coaching yourself to have a growth mindset, because we're all naturally geared up to react to fear, and change often brings fear to the fore. And that there needs to be lots of personal mantras and self-coaching and coaching of others to really help everyone ride the complexity that lays ahead. If we can do that collectively, that would be a beautiful thing. I dare say we're going to have lots of bumps and crashes along the way. And, you know, I'm there to help organisations navigate that, as I do here. But there again, therein lies another opportunity that will emerge, and all of a sudden roles and jobs that didn't exist before will come into play, because this will be an in-demand skill. It doesn't matter where you go, you're going to have people who have got life coaching skills or executive coaching skills to help organisations and leaders navigate this change. And those who are on the front foot and already doing it, that's fantastic. I mean, everyone should have a coach or a mentor. Those who don't or don't believe in it, again, it's going to be really, really tough for them. So, you know, who can really tell just what the volume is of change and how many people are up for it and how many people aren't? But we will certainly, you know, see those changes reflected in organisations over the next 10 years.
Well, look, it's been a pleasure. I think perhaps if I can sum it up by saying that the way I think we all work together, because we do need to, is when we find common ground for the common good. So how do our businesses, you know, create spaces that are good for staff, good for customers, good for society? How do we serve the common good? How do we come from that heart-centered, human-centered approach? Because it has got a little bit all, you know, one way, you know, profit only, you know, win at all costs kind of mentality, and they're not sustainable. So I really appreciate all of the contribution, you know, you've given all of us today, because you are dealing with a range of variables, mostly human variables, but certainly AI and other systems as well to actually marry together. And your stewardship and guidance through our interview today has been amazing. So, Leesa, on behalf of everyone, thank you so much for giving up your time and sharing us your wisdom and insights about what we can do to sell better and how HR can actually support that endeavour. Thank you.
My pleasure, Sue. Thank you.